Hi everyone, Mon here, Intuitive Soul Savant. Welcome back to the channel. The algorithms are catching up again. Every video there's 5 or more views. So I hope you've enjoyed or gotten some great information already. And I look forward to getting back into the algorithm so I can have all my subscribers see these videos. So if you're watching, please like the video just to help me out, just to get back into the algorithms. You know, I'm an astrologer, numerologist, studied many modalities, and I offer consultations that are a little different to everybody else. I'm very much spirit-led, okay? I find it very hard to get into corporate expectations of a business because things are going to be changing anyway. Another announcement I want to make is that I may be moving over to another platform. Just things I've heard that, Meta owns most of the social media platforms. So moving over to a private platform would probably serve me so that I'm not censored in any way down the track, especially with Uranus in Gemini for the next 7 years. There's going to be a lot go down, which I did discuss in the last video. Today, I'm going to bring another video, jump the queue, so to speak. I was going to be discussing rebirth, but I'm going to do that over the weekend, that video. But today, I wasn't really going to talk about the eclipses. However, on Monday, whoa, did that energy hit me. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, yesterday. Today's the first day that I've sort of feel free of that energy. So it took me 3 days to process the full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces. Now, I don't want to exclude anybody, but these eclipses are really detrimental, not scary detrimental, serious detrimental to those mid-60s born, right? With Pluto conjunct Uranus in Virgo and Saturn and Chiron in Pisces. Now we know the North Node is in Pisces, the South Node is in Virgo. We know that this next eclipse, the full moon eclipse, is going to be at 15 degrees. Well, the full moon will be at 15 degrees, and then the eclipse is about 18 degrees of Pisces, okay? Now, the reason I say detrimental is that this is big time for mid-60s born, or anyone who has stellium of planets in Pisces or Virgo, or the other 2 mutable signs, Gemini and Sagittarius, okay? Because this full moon eclipse is going to be squaring Gemini and Sagittarius. Now, we have Uranus in Gemini, soon to retrograde back into Taurus. However, already I'm seeing, as a mid-60s born, I'm seeing already, even though Uranus hasn't even hit 3 degrees, I'm already seeing the square. The square, Uranus and Pluto, the mid-60s, are going to be going through this in the next 7 years. All right, so, you know, it is big times astrologically. I'm sure I'm not the only astrologer you follow. Let me know if I am, and I'll be more specific. I sort of want to get more down to the energies and the reality of these aspects rather than give you a whole lot of numbers. Now, we know that Pisces is a very emotional energy. It's a water sign. It's the last sign of the zodiac. So having the eclipses here, that's the end of a cycle, all right? And having Saturn retrograded back into Pisces on Monday, immediately I felt that heavy energy. So if you're feeling the very heavy energy this week, that is Saturn retrograded back into Pisces. Now, those mid-60s born they're finishing Saturn return in Pisces. All right, so this month is huge for the mid-60s born, and it could be very emotional, it could be very painful, and it could be very frustrating because the new moon on the 21st, 22nd of September, that new moon is at 29 degrees of Virgo. Right, it's like a blue moon. We've already had one new moon at the beginning of Virgo, and now we're having another new moon at the end of Virgo, right? So in that itself is a message. It's the ending of a cycle and the start of a new cycle. Now, because it's in Virgo, health is a big, big issue here, and I encourage mid-60s to look at that aspect. Yes, we have our spiritual awareness with our Saturn and Chiron in Pisces. We've got that spiritual awareness, and being born with Saturn in Pisces, it is a conflicting energy. We have the ethers, spirituality, what you cannot hold or touch, right? And then we've got the reality of Saturn, who wants form, who wants structure, who wants to bring down to earth that spiritual energy. And it can be done. A lot of that mid-60s generation their careers have moved into healing careers, right? Or anything in the occult. The mid-60s, they've been very aware of spirituality. It would have been harder to ground that energy in the first 30 years of their lives because society just wasn't there yet. The internet had only just broken out, so now these mid-60s are hitting 60. If you're born 65, it's the year of the wood snake this year. So there's another return of that. If you're born, 67, what have you, well, then the fire horse energy next year is going to come back around. It takes 60 years for your Chinese animal to come back around to be the same element and same animal, all right? So 60 is a very important year for everybody. When we're living later, so 60 is the new 40, you could say. All right. Sorry about my camera here. It keeps changing with the light, so I'll try and keep still. So I don't want to exclude everybody, but this is really important for the mid-60s. This week, next week, the week after that, and the next 6 months, right? Eclipses have an energy range of 6 months. I only felt that emotional energy come in on Monday. And I processed that Monday and Tuesday and yesterday. And today I feel lighter. So I've gotten what I need out of that. And where it has led me is, with Pisces and having Saturn in Pisces and that heaviness to the ethereal energy, we often use some sort of addictive behavior or substance to cover, not the right word, I'm looking for the right word here. Let's just say help with the feeling of those heavy, dense energies. And, I say substance, but it could be anything. It could be shopping. It could be workaholism. Definitely workaholism, because workaholism is a Virgo trait, right? And, both ends of the scale, you've got spirituality and dreaminess and going with the flow, sitting around and dreaming. And then Virgo, you've got that, right, I want to work and manifest in the material what I desire, all right? So those two ends of the polarity are very tricky, okay, because it's earth and heaven. That's materialism, spirituality, right? So if you've noticed that your cravings for something to help you soothe that harsh Saturn in Pisces energy, if you feel that you're being feeling compulsive is the word, where you want to change how you're feeling, which, the last couple of days, yes, of course, because it was such heavy energy. These sort of temptations come back into view. Now, I believe that they're only coming back into view this month so that we can understand the priorities of our health, Virgo, right? And it's really being earmarked for our attention, our health, and opposite end of the scale, what we use that isn't healthy for us and is out of balance for us to soothe those harsh energies of Saturn in Pisces, full moon in Pisces. And remember, those 60s born has got Chiron in Pisces, and that's the wound that's never healed, but we learn to live with that wound. So this is a very trying time for people of the mid-60s or those that have got stelliums in Pisces and Virgo, right? Now, the illusion is the addiction. The illusion is the addiction, and the illusion is also the materialism. Both have illusion weaving through them, but we require balance. So if we can marry that need for compulsive behavior to protect ourselves, soothe ourselves, and not enter into those addictive behaviors, then we are materializing balance as a human being and as a spiritual being. But most of all, we're a spiritual being having a human experience. And, it will be an emotional time if you have healed your emotional body. If your emotions are stuck, this is a great time to have a massage, do something as far as self-care goes, to really be compassionate with the self, all right? Because this is a very trying time. Now, that new moon on the 21st, 22nd of September, that new moon is opposing Saturn in Pisces at 29 degrees, the energetic degrees, the last important degrees of the sign. So, yes, this full moon lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse at the end on the 21st, 22nd, right, these are really, really, really important eclipses, because from here, the nodes will move into Aquarius and Leo, all right? So this energy, this intenseness is still around. And if you have been watching videos from my colleagues, you'll know that next year is an intense year of change. And none of us at the moment know what that change is going to be. With Saturn in Pisces, it's ethereal. It hasn't been grounded yet. We have an idea of it. We have a dream of it, our futures. However, we cannot gain any traction until Saturn is away from Neptune, right? So Saturn will go into Pisces next year, into Aries next year, and those two will conjunct, Saturn and Neptune. So it's all about Saturn and Neptune at the moment. Materialism and the illusion of life, and our dream world, our spiritual awareness. So this month, we really need to have compassion for ourselves, number one, because to be moving through this energy, it is not easy. The energies around at the moment are not easy energies. They're the end and the start of new cycles. And we also have Pluto, right? We have Pluto and Uranus all have changed. Pluto's changed signs, and Uranus will be in Gemini full time next year, right? So having Uranus there squaring Virgo, squaring Pisces, Uranus will square oppose Sagittarius. These are our mutable signs. These are our easygoing signs, our changeability, right? But if we don't have a clear picture, well, we are at the mercy of the waves of energy. But at the same time, we do have power over ourselves, not over anything outside of ourselves. It's ourself. What do we have power over? Well, let's go to Virgo. We have power over our body, our health, our daily practices, balance in our work-life balance. We have power there. And if that's all the power we have at the moment, then that's where we need to focus. That's where we need to focus. And having Saturn in Pisces, that's grounding that energy of self-care. Saturn in Pisces is looking after the temple that the spiritual being is in, so to speak. Right? So we do have power over our health, our day-to-day agendas, schedules, diaries. We have power over that. So if that's all the power we have at the moment is power over our health and our daily schedules, then that's where we need our focus. All right? And you will have the hint of that because this full moon in Pisces, Saturn in Pisces, is the sign on the wall of where we do need to focus our attention. If there's compulsive energy for previous addictions that have resurfaced, then they're there to show us not to fall back into old behaviour. Whatever Pluto has taught us through Capricorn and shown us our best path, we can't lose those lessons. And that's what I've found. The lessons I learned with Pluto through Capricorn, as soon as Pluto went into Aquarius, I would say the beginning of this year, because it was in Capricorn in my 6th house, health has been a huge component of my last 15, 16 years learning lessons. But then at the beginning of this year, it was almost like the pressure was off me. And I could choose whether I wanted to go to the gym every day. And the desire to go to the gym every day left. But that's not good for me, because for my mental health and to keep the body moving, keep the energy up, I need to do that. But I don't have the support of Pluto anymore. I've got to do that myself and understand that myself, Virgo. I've got to look after my health, even without Pluto knocking at the door. I've got to do it through my own awareness and my own love for self to have the best container for this spirit within me, Pisces. So I don't want to go on and on about this anymore. We'll keep it short, but I really want to let you know you're not alone. Your mid-60s. This is a really, really intense time for you guys and anyone with stelliums in Pisces and Virgo, or the other 2 mutable signs. But everybody has an area of their chart where the moon is going to become full in that area of your chart, wherever Pisces is in your chart. And those that aren't usually emotional and are able to push down their emotions with substances or things or behaviours, then you will see this obviously with this eclipse. Okay, it's not like you've backslid. Oh my God, I'm back to the beginning. It's nothing like that. It's not like, oh, I thought I'd finish with that. Okay, it is like that, but it's just that energy is just there. It's back in your radar just to remind you, you can't let that slip. Whatever behaviors you have changed for your benefit, don't let them slip. It's just a reminder, okay? So I have a lot of compassion for myself at the moment, and I have a lot of compassion for you guys if you're struggling with this full moon in Pisces. All right, now I'll see you on the weekend with a rebirth video. I'll try and work out my camera here why it keeps shining out. Don't forget, I'm open for consultations. There's no time limit on the time that I spend with you. It's very thorough. And I'll discuss that more in the rebirth chart, the rebirth video, okay? All right, everybody, so have a wonderful, wonderful full moon. Forgive yourself if old behaviours have come back up. It's not like you're a failure or you didn't do the right job before. All it is that you're being reminded not to let that go. And if there is emotions coming up, sit with it. Sit with it and release them for once and for all, okay? Because jumping into busyness, Virgo, workaholism, Virgo, black and white structured thinking, Virgo, that won't help you with this full moon. You've really got to allow with Pisces, allow for the fish to flow. All right. Thanks, everybody, and I'll see you soon.